Hi everybody, Rebekah the Ghost Guide here. You'll notice pretty quickly this is not the travel episode that I promised this week. I guess I should say I consider myself pretty good about categorizing things. Ghost stories are one thing. Experiencing ghosts and other spirits, it's one thing, but I do what I can to not make it personal. And I have to not make it personal because if I do, I wouldn't be able to cope. I get a lot of emails from people. I get a lot of comments, especially on TikTok, on Instagram, and some on YouTube. A lot of people who are in pain. A lot of people who need help. A lot of people who feel like they were robbed time with a being that they loved. And they want to reach out to that being, right? And in order for me to cope with that, I have to kind of treat it like business. And this week in particular, business caught up with me. This week in particular, I was personally reacquainted with death. I was in the situation of I knew that it was coming, but it never makes it any easier. Just because I am more aware spiritually, being in tune with that which is around, even if it's not physically around, it doesn't make it easier. This episode, I'm going to be getting a bit more personal. I'm going to be acting a lot less. I'm not going to have that persona, so to speak. I'm just going to be speaking with you because somewhere along the line, my coping mechanism to be able to help others was to take that side of myself away. And so consider me adding that side of myself back. I want to show that I can be empathetic, that I can commiserate, and that I understand. And that I talk about these things with that persona and with that professional manner because that's my training, but the reality is still there. And so I'm going to walk you through the steps of what my immediate family has done this week to try and put someone to rest. And I hope that this may give you ideas. If you watch this, I hope that this will help you cope, and I hope that this will maybe even give a few people peace. I don't know, but here goes. We were given the gift of knowing Moby was headed out. It was not a surprise. And because we were given that gift, we made a number of choices on how to let that play out. For example, it came down to Moby making us decide for him when we would let go of him. His body was done. It was done for a little while now. After he stopped walking the second time, he stopped being able to do bodily functions. He started to go blind, but it was only last 2 days that he was alive that we recognized that as his body shut down, he was in pain. And that was a difference for us. I honestly feel, intuitively speaking, that he could have let go, and he would not. And that's a kind of love that I've never understood. I've never understood that somebody or something could be in so much pain and not let go. But I recognize it was us who had to make the decision. He was waiting. And before we went to the vet, we brought Mira and Roger out on the porch, and we left them with Moby to say goodbye. And we explained to them, we said, Moby's going to be freed from this form because it's not strong enough to hold him. It's not strong enough to hold his spirit, his soul. And this is the last time that you're going to see him like this. And it's funny, we personify animals, but I wonder, is it the personification or is it that spiritual understanding that we have with living beings? We allowed them to say goodbye, and then we went to the vet. Even with COVID, we took protective measures, but they let us be with him. We wouldn't have left him. Now, I'm not holding this against anybody. We are all in different places in our life, and we are all learning different things at different times. Your animal looks to you, and it's so incredibly hard to watch life leave from someone's eyes. But that is true love. There's a song from a band called Death Cab for Cutie, and it's a song called What Sarah Said, because all they can think about is one thing that Sarah said. And that one thing is, love is watching someone die. It is the most selfless thing that I think a person can do because it's so hard. But I know in Moby's case, you watch that happen. And I remember it was very fast. And the vet said, he's gone. And I stopped crying because the sense of relief in the air was so much. It's like I felt his spirit in a form that was not of a cat, but just there. And I felt him say, thank you. We brought him home. Once we had buried him, we brought Mira out and we brought Roger out. But I brought him out and I held him and I crouched down next to where the box was that Moby was inside, and Mira was there too. And we explained to them, we said, this is where he is. And we were there with him until the end, and we told him over and over just how much we loved him, how we love him. So the last thing that he heard before he transitioned out of that body was how much we loved him and how appreciative we were for everything that he had done, and how if he wants to come back and see us, he can, but we understand if he has to go too. Love is letting go in that way. I'm actually going to show a video of how Jay prepared it, and it's part of the hoodoo and conjure tradition that he follows, as well as personal things. And it still fascinates me how so many different cultures have different ways of preparing their dead, and honestly, all of them right, because it comes from love.
For Moby, this was lovingly donated to us by a couple friends who knew him. 2 of his favorite toys, because it seems appropriate. Cinnamon is an activator. Help him kind of push things along, give him a little bit more juju to work with. If he wants to go, he can go. If he wants to hang around, he can hang around, but that helps him have a little bit more pep in his step. Water is the universal conductor. He wants to visit something he can not only drink from, but also kind of pass through with. Clove is an activator. It's also kind of a subtle heat, but it's more about protection, more about purity, keeping him away from things that can harm him. Eucalyptus around here as well. Eucalyptus is a really big purifier, helping him on the other side of things. Stay clean, stay safe, push things away that want to mess with him, feed on him, especially if he's going to come in and out. And the last thing is lemongrass, which you see not only in here, but sprinkled around. Lemongrass is luck. If he wants to transition, great. If he wants to stick around, great. It's completely his choice to do so, but lemongrass is opportunity. So if something better comes along, we want it to come along for him, and we want him to take it. There's lavender buried with him as well. Lavender is prosperity. All of this is, the whole point is symbolism, different aspects that we want to give to him during that transition. On this side and the other, so we can stay healthy, stay safe, and stay loved. Even if he's no longer with us, there's no reason for any of the things that we did in life to stop once he's passed. So this is us giving to him after he's gone as well.
I get a lot of questions from people who have had pets move on or transition, as I like to say, and they ask, how do I know that they're okay? The answer, I believe, to that is the same way you would know they were okay in life. Pets don't speak to us the way that we speak to them. We have to pick up on context. We have to pick up on trust. And it's the same way. They're not in a physical form, but they still have emotions. They still have tendencies. They still can be exactly what they were, just free of their body. Even though I'm open to all of this spiritual stuff. The day after he passed, I kept hearing him. And I wonder, was it residual? Was it just the energy that he brought? How it still stuck around the house? Was it him? And as it's only been a few days, I don't know yet. I talk a lot about balance, and that a person needs to be balanced in order to properly distinguish what they're dealing with. And I'm not balanced right now. So I can't tell you. Another tip I give to people when they're specifically dealing with animals, but it's very similar to what you would do with humans, is if you want to call to somebody's energy and they are still in an energy kind of thing, they haven't moved on to another life or something like that, we have to create an element and an environment that they would recognize. For a human, you might keep some of their clothing, you might use a perfume that they use, you might make some of their favorite food. And for a cat or an animal, why wouldn't you do the same thing? We have told him he can move on. We're learning to believe what we're saying. We've also invited him in a space where if he feels comfortable to stay, he's welcome to. It's what he wants to do. And it's us embracing that it's about him. we'll make do. There are ways that pets are closer to us, that they understand, that they see things that most humans are not conditioned to get. I think pets are connected on a spiritual side with us that we only wish that we could connect with most people on. They see us for who we are, and they accept us like that. The following is a eulogy that I wrote. Moby Dick, Moby the great white asshole, Mob, Mobobe, Mobablobe, big guy, big Moby, fat cat Moby, kitty brother lover, pet, cat, friend. I'll miss saying these names around the house. I'll miss hearing them more. I'm of the belief that pets are a gift we receive that teach us not only about unconditional love, but also about to give the thing we love and crave most, the same love, away. Moby's favorite place was on top of someone's clothing. It didn't matter if the someone had lived there for years or just happened to let their jacket drop somewhere. He would be on it. I think that says a lot about his relationship with Jay. Moby came into Jay's life when Jay needed someone to not give up on him. Jay needed to be loved for everything he was, especially when some of those parts were not seen or loved by others. Moby spent his life with Jay. Throughout that life, I came into the picture. I still remember adolescent Moby running around and bouncing off the walls. He had hardly grown into his brown Mao coat and was still mostly white then. Over the years, the duo of Jay and Moby grew to Jay, Moby, and Roger. Moby loved Roger so much. Maybe a little too much at times. They were inseparable. Moby turned out to be very gay. And he was the biggest gay bear of a cat I've ever known. Always proud and ready to show his gayness at any moment, usually in front of guests. I was next to join the family. It took no time at all for Moby to let Jay know that I wasn't Jay's companion, but his. And he shared me with Jay when he felt like it. Still, Moby never let anyone get between him and Jay. Mira was the last to join our immediate family. Moby was not a fan of her most of the time. However, over time, he would curl up next to her and even clean her face. She never stopped being terrified of him, and I think he liked the power he held over a dog 3 times his size. Moby had been very ill for about a month before his passing. After his first seizure, we didn't think he would make it a day, but he gave us indications he wasn't done with us yet. After more seizures, he eventually started to drink and eat, and taught himself how to walk again. He began to adjust to the new normal, but over time, we could see that this new normal was not something he wanted. He wanted to lay on Jay, lay on clothing, lay in the sun on the porch, but to do that came so much effort in other places. He just didn't have it in him. He stuck around, he defied death to sit on Jay's lap a little longer, and to share the bed. But his body couldn't keep up with his spirit, and today we made the decision to free him from that pain. To the end, he never gave up on us. More specifically, he never gave up on Jay. The love that Moby had was immeasurable, and we know that in this transition, he will move on to exactly where he wants to go. He's always been stubborn like that. I feel that at some point we'll see him again, and he'll be shoving all of himself into our lives in the next life, just as he did in this one. Do not be sad for us. Rather, take stock in the ones in your life who live on, will alone, who will never give up on you, and have abundant love to give only when they choose to give it. That was Moby. We only mourn the form we grew accustomed to. His spirit is alive and well. The next phase of things to do at our house is to clean up. And we've still yet to do that. And the best thing to do would be to do it immediately. You want to cleanse the negative energy. You want the life to come back. So here's when I say, it's okay. It's okay to not be able to cleanse immediately. It's not fun. It's not a great atmosphere to be in. And it's not like we're going to keep it around. But it is what it is. All in all, this episode is about showing my humanity on this. And for those of you who will reach out to me in the future asking for guidance, this is what I'm going to send you. Because you need to know that what you're feeling is not just you. And just because I can give you a clinical, business-like response doesn't mean that I don't feel things. A number of people have commented, hey, I sent you an email a while ago. I know. Ghost stories are all fun and good until they're personal. I'm going to get better from this, but I am grieving right now, and that's okay. Thanks for watching. The next episode, when it comes out, won't be like this. Thank you.